Hey guys, and today I'm doing a different video from what I've been posting up lately, but it's very similar to what I was originally posting on this channel, and it was stuff more about philosophy. This is going to sort of be slightly similar to the antinatalism video, so people who watched that and enjoyed it, they'll probably most likely enjoy this video. But today we're taking up a task that's pretty difficult. You must have seen the quote of the day there. Today we're going to be interpreting what the Tao is in Tao Te Ching. Um, Getting that calendar, like of all things, really reinvigorated my interest in reading the book again, even though I've read it several times. And so, yeah, let's get into this. So the quote I put up there is, "The heavenly is like Tao. Tao is eternal. The decay of the body is not to be feared." Now, I can hear you all saying, this just sounds like jibber jabber and religious dogma. But no, it can be interpreted in many ways. If you look at it from a straightforward perspective, sure, it does seem as if it is some kind of religious dogma, but really we have to define, we have to think, use context to define what the what the connotation of heavenly and Tao are. Um, Now, if you've read Tao Te Ching, you know that a lot of it is about um, changing yourself to be a better human being as a whole. At least that's how you can look at it. It seems blatantly obvious that that's the whole premise of Tao Te Ching. Um, Changing yourselves to live in the way of the Tao. Now, just saying the Tao like that, this is the great thing about Tao Te Ching. Uh, you can look at it from millions of different perspectives. It's a very up for interpretation book. And most people would say, isn't that a downside? Isn't that something you should watch out for? Yes and no. Tao Te Ching doesn't give you much concrete advice on how to think. If a book gives you advice on how to think, um, then it is propaganda, and it is most likely religious dogma. And the dangerous thing about a book that tells you how to think, being up for interpretation, is, for example, uh, Christianity, Christianity and Islam uh, cause some of the most terrorism in the entire world. You know, Christianity and Islam, the two largest world religions, um, their book it has many interpretations, and it tells you how to think. So that, in a sense, is negative. But a book like Tao Te Ching that tells you how to live, being up for interpretation, is much different than a book that tells you how to think, being up for interpretation. So, let's go over the quote again. The heavenly is like Tao. Tao is eternal. The decay of the body is not to be feared. The heavenly. Now, that would seem as if it was a reference to an afterlife. But if you. The beginning of the book, this is page 13 in my translation. Here's a quote. Quote, "Between heaven and earth is like a bellows. It is empty, but does not collapse. It moves, and more issues. A gossip is soon empty. It is doubtful if he can be impartial." So, basically, this is how the book's heaven could be interpreted. Now, you could look at this and say that it means an afterlife, referencing a gossip is soon empty. It is doubtful if he can be impartial. But I look at the quote, or I look at the words in between here. Heaven and earth is like a bellows. It is empty, or the distance between heaven and earth is like a bellows. It is empty, but does not collapse. Or the space between heaven and earth is like a bellows. What that means in my mind is that heaven is not a physical place. Heaven is something that can be achieved in a sense, kind of like a Buddhist's interpretation of nirvana. So you look here in this quote, and it does mention this gossip as a human, like as a person. But here, that might seem like this gossip is trying to enter a physical space. But if you look at it as if it's nirvana, like the Buddhists do, the the gossip could be interpreted as a person who is not living their life by the way of the Tao. Now we have to we have to define Tao to completely decipher this quote and bring out the true meaning within Tao Te Ching of the Tao. If you're reading along, go back to the first page of chapter 1. At least this is how it is translated in my translation. I do not know if it will be translated the same way in yours. But it starts off the book with the Tao that can be understood cannot be the primal or cosmic Tao, just as an idea that can be expressed in words. Just as an idea that can be expressed in words, it cannot be an infinite idea. This quote is crucial to understanding what the Tao is, at least from my perspective it is. The Tao that can be understood cannot be the primal or cosmic Tao. Tao, just as an idea that can be expressed in words, cannot be the infinite idea. What this basically entails is that the Tao itself is indeed an idea. So, but look at these two categories, the primal or cosmic Tao. Now, this book was written, I don't know how many years ago, but it was in ancient China, so it's many, many years ago. The primal or cosmic Tao could be simply explained as this author, Lao Tzu, if that is actually his name, that's up for debate. Lao Tzu's interpretation of knowledge of what's out there and knowledge of the true nature, the true being of life on this planet and, to a certain extent, life in the universe. So, him stating this is basically just a sign of the times. There's no technology at that point that could be used to discover the unknown. So, the primal or cosmic Tao is seemingly an idea of what's truly out there, an idea of how life works and functions on planet Earth, and to a certain extent out in the universe. At least that's my interpretation of it. This is very brief for defining something like this, so please excuse my attempts to try to explain things very packed in together. Okay, guys, so this is very long. It's the entirety of poem 14 in Tao Te Ching. In my translation, it starts at page 31. It is, quote, It is unseen because it is colorless. It is unheard because it is soundless. When seeking to grasp it, it eludes one, but is not incorporeal. Because of these qualities, it cannot be examined, and yet they form an essential unity. Superficially, it appears abstruse, but in its depths it is not obscure. It has been nameless forever. It appears and then disappears. It is what is known as the form of the formless. The image of the imageless, it is called the transcendental. Its face, or destiny, cannot be seen in front, or its back, or origin, behind. But by holding fast to the Tao of the ancients, the wise man may understand the present because he knows the origin of this past. This is the clue to the Tao. Once again, one of the most crucial poems to understanding this beautiful piece of ancient Chinese literature. So basically, that was a mouthful. Sorry, I'm just kind of taking a breather. Basically, what this is it's describing the holding of knowledge. Knowledge itself is a concept. It cannot be examined. It isn't physical, but it exists within you. So it says here, the wise man may understand the present because he knows the origin of the past. This, in my eyes, is a giveaway that the Tao is knowledge itself. The Tao is the embodiment or the description of knowledge, the description of knowing throughout the entire book. So it seems now to me that we can go in, maybe look at another passage on the concept of heaven that is mentioned all over the book, and finally decipher this quote that we've been building up to for this entire video. Okay, this is page 100, section or poem 39 in my translate. Well, it'll be it's 39 in every translation, but this is poem 39 in my translation. Or the translation that I own. So, it has been said of old, quote, it has been said of old, only those who attain unity attain selfhood. Heaven attained unity, and thereby is space. Earth attained unity, thereby it is solid. This quote itself, it's very interesting because it mentions heaven directly and almost kind of defines it for us. Heaven is space. Now, this itself could be interpreted in two ways. Physical space, as in a space between, or actually three ways, now that I think about it. Physical space between two objects, the space out there, or nothingness. Intangible, not physical. I see it as something intangible because I feel like it would be too obvious if it meant a physical space between two things or 2 points or the space around us itself. It says heaven attained unity. Now, unity in this sense, unity here means unity itself, but really what it's referencing is attaining heaven, or like I said earlier, it's quite similar to the Buddhist interpretation of nirvana. Attaining heaven, unity with heaven, is to be at peace, to live your life as you should, to live your life in the interest and care of others and the world around you, and unity with the space around us, unity with the universe, and unity with the planet itself. That's my interpretation based on just the strict, complete quote from section 39, page 100 of Tao Te Ching. So, let's go back and decipher that quote. Quote, "The heavenly is like Tao. Tao is eternal. Tao is the eternal. The decay of the body is not to be feared." So Tao itself, as we now understand, is knowledge. So if Tao, being knowledge, is like the heavenly, being the people who live in the interest of others, live in the interest of dedicating themselves to being better people, and living in unity with the universe and life itself, the planet, space around us. This basically means that this quote can be simply deciphered as the heavenly. These people are like knowledge itself. So people who live in a heavenly way, people who have attained heaven, are like knowledge itself. So yeah, that is the my decoding of what the Tao and what heaven means in Tao Te Ching. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. I had so much fun making this video. Seriously, like, this was the best part of my day. Granted, I've had kind of a shitty day, but I just loved making this. And I really hope that this can be a successful video, because I want to get this out to people in the community that watch me. Thank you guys very much if you watched this entire video. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see y'all